Okay, with the brand new raid opening up today, as well as Mythic's Zeros arriving, there are a lot of specs out there that are just simply dominating right now compared to the rest heading into the season. And we wanted to break this down for you all. Today, we're bringing you the 10 best specs heading into Season 1 so far in the War Within. And these specs are going to be rated off their skill curve required to play them, DPS potential in terms of single target and AOE, as well as the design of their hero talents and just class overall. So let's get into it. And speaking of being overall better than the rest, the biggest addition for me as a gamer has been switching over to today's sponsor, Opera GX. And I know you're probably upset you're hearing a sponsor. I'm not trying to actually sell you on anything because it's free using our link in the description below if you're interested. So go to www.operagx.gg, the comeback kids. I'm somebody who's on my computer pretty much all day for work as well as my own personal hobbies like gaming. So Opera GX has completely changed my life on my computer. We gave this product a try, a few months ago after they reached out to us, and I could not be happier about giving this web browser a go. Compared to the other browsers, it's sleek, it's clean, it's modern, 100% customizable to how you like it, and it can be set up within minutes, importing all of your information from your previous browser in one click. You have thousands of different, themes to customize, animated wallpapers, immersive sound effects. I mean, my favorite mod, hands down, is this neon, retro Blade Runner one. It really reminds me of the Comeback Kids, my channel, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. As you can see, the poster behind me. It has customizable sounds for typing, opening and closing tabs, and even the music fits the vibe perfectly. Using this mod instantly immerses me into the vibe and the energy that I'm trying to give off on the channel, and it fits so perfect, man. I genuinely could not be more happy because it is a perfect browser for me. Something that actually blew my mind also about Opera GX is that you can detach YouTube videos that you're currently watching and display them on your screen at any time, which allowed me to have my own personal little, mini TV while I'm leveling or farming herbs in the War Within so far. So not only that, you also have your social media and other programs embedded directly into the sidebar like Twitter, Discord, Instagram, Twitch, ChatGPT, so you can hot swap over to these programs and tabs in a matter of a couple seconds, which is incredibly convenient. I also love using the AI integration with Opera GX to help outline some of my news videos for you all so I can pump out some more content. Listen, on this channel, we're very, very particular about the ads that we show to you all because we only want to give our community the best products available, like a product that can actually be useful. So please do yourself a favor. This one changed my life. Go to www.operagx.gg/thecomebackkids and dump that boring, outdated browser. Give this one a go. It's absolutely free. Let's level up together. Now, get back to the content. All right, welcome back. Now, I'm sure all of you have seen the might of the Fury Warrior, but of course, we gotta talk about it. The damage this class can deal right now in AoE situations is jaw-dropping. Between Odin's Fury, their new and improved Blade Storm from their Slayer hero talent tree, their Whirlwind enhanced Rampage, and then, your Bloodthirst being improved, this class's damage is quite literally through the roof, and it's almost uncomparable in terms of DPS overall. You gotta know right now, if you're a Fury Warrior, you're in one of the best spots in the entire game in terms of single target and AoE. My favorite part of the spec isn't even about the damage it's dealing, it's just a simple and sleek design of everything going on with it. You have a hero talent tree in Slayer that is very easy to understand and doesn't impede on your rotation, but also just deals a crap ton of damage. I always enjoyed trying to keep up your Enrage passive as much as possible with Rampage, and at this point in time with Fury Warrior, Rampage doesn't feel like a chore to press. It's easily one of your hardest hitting abilities overall, so keeping up your damage buffs is very easy and it feels good. The only thing I would say about Fury Warrior is that it doesn't have a ton of build variety, and Slayer is just miles ahead of Mountain Thane. So what you see with Fury Warrior is kind of what you get. Mountain Thane doesn't really have an option right now. But at this point, what you see is some of the best in the game in terms of damage and design in these 1 or 2 max builds. Overall, I'm sure if you're a Fury Warrior, you're loving it right now, you're dominating the game, and we're going to be seeing you this week in Mythic Zeros and Raids killing it. So heads up if you're a Fury Warrior main. Another sure hit we knew was going to be, of course, the Arcane Mage. Literally for months at a time, Arcane Mage was the best DPS spec in the game during the beta. Now, I do think there's one better DPS spec overall, which we'll talk about in a minute, but Arcane Mage, without a doubt, is one of the most fun rotations you can play in all of World of Warcraft right now. Not only that, you're also seeing some of the best spell effects in the game, and then you tie it all together with nuclear damage in both single target and AOE. The developers are honestly also constantly keeping an eye on Arcane Mage and making sure its damage is, always tuned properly with every patch, which is very odd because the class doesn't even need any help. It doesn't need any adjustments, yet they're constantly keeping an eye on it, which makes this class very safe. You have 2 hero talent trees that are very effective and designed well for the class. You have nearly infinite build variety with, you have Nether Precision builds, Arcane Harmony builds, Magi Spark, and Nether Munitions. It just seems almost unfair at this point that you have a class that's designed so well that's not only constantly getting buffed and keeping track of by the developers, but also deals some of the most damage in the game in every aspect. It's really, really crazy to me. I love that they completely reworked this class, and it is by far one of the most fun rotations in the game while being very mobile and fluid. At one point while I was leveling up my mage the last week, I was hitting over 1.5 million DPS at level 75 with nothing but green gear from being boosted through Mop Remix, which is crazy to me. I guarantee you will see Arcane Mage dominate raids this week, as well as seeing them perform exceptionally well for Mythic Zeros in preparation for the big Mythic push next week. Shout out to Arcane Mage, they are killing it right now. Okay, I know Christmas is a couple months away, but for Retribution Paladins, they got Christmas early this year. They got a nice cup of hot cocoa, they got presents all around them. They're underneath the tree all snuggled up because they're killing it right now in the War Within, and I'm really surprised about this. Between Empyrean Hammers constantly flying around and hitting targets passively, Hammer of Light to, tie that together with the 1-2 punch of Waking Ashes, and then you got your Avenging Wrath being popped off passively. This class is going crazy right now in terms of AoE. I love the gameplay integration of Divine Hammer as well as a 2-minute cooldown. I think there's a nice little skill ceiling that could be strived for with Ret Paladin because there is a very big difference of a great Ret Paladin compared to a bad one. You have tons of utility that can be used for your group like Blessing of Sacrifice, Blinding Light, Blessing of Protection, Lay on Hands. All of these feel really, really good, especially Word of Glory. I'm going to be honest, I think Ret Paladin is going to be very critical for those melee cleave groups, and I'm loving them so far heading into Mythic Plus dungeons in just about a week from now. I will say Ret Paladin does have a minor weakness, and that's the fact that if you don't specifically build for single target DPS, you will lag behind a bit. So there comes points where you'll hit like 300k DPS single target, which isn't the greatest. But if you do spec into pure single target, your damage will be just fine. It just means you'll suffer in a little bit other areas. Overall, I'm loving how simple and straightforward the spec is right now. And there's a reason why Paladin is the most played class in the game. And it's definitely not because of Protection Paladin. AoE Judgments, passive Consecrations, and Crusader Strikes going off, chunky Waste of Ashes, you got your Imperial Hammers going off passively, and then to tie it all together, you got the Nuclear Hammer of Light hero talent ability, which feels really, really good to press. The rework to Ret Paladin has done wonders to the spec overall, and I'm so happy it's getting its time in the spotlight, and hopefully it continues to perform well and excel heading into Season 1. Look out for Ret Paladins. I think they're going to be really, really good, specifically inside of Mythic Plus. Okay, let's hop off of melee DPS for a second, and let's get back to caster, because we got to talk about the Dark Lord Affliction Warlock. Everything we predicted about Affliction the last couple of months has been absolutely true, and it has stayed the course, being one of the best caster DPS in the game. How many specs, honestly, can you say in the War Within has 2 amazing hero talents that perform equally as good with each other, a plethora of build variety, and is good in every single ounce of content in the game, including PvP? Hellcaller brings you the new and improved Wither while also bringing you a chunky 1-minute cooldown to increase your haste. It feels very good for the spec, and it feels like this hero talent tree was specifically made for Affliction, which is awesome. Then you have the Soul Harvester, which is a bit more bursty at times and great for single target DPS, making it very good for raids. For the longest time, I was expecting them just out of nowhere blunder Affliction and then have the class fall from grace like they usually do with Warlocks right before expansions drop, but they actually stuck true to it, and it makes me very happy for this class overall. I love the rework in some of their designs. It's, very simple to get all your damage over time effects rolling, and the craziest part is that they perform better when targets are more difficult to kill, when targets have more maximum HP, so they scale very, very well heading into the end game. So if you think they're dealing great damage right now in dungeons, wait till Mythics and the raid open up where they have some time to actually get everything up and rolling. You're going to see their damage double or even triple, and that's when Affliction really comes online. You got Seed of the Corruption spreading your Wither, Vile Taint to spread your Curse of Agony, and then, you're mashing Malefic Rapture with all your cooldowns together, and the damage is just nuts. I love how simple the class is. Fantastic design with 2 hero talent trees that feel really good, that offer a lot of build variety with an amazing class fantasy. Look out for Affliction Warlock this week because you're gonna see them kill it inside of Mythic Plus as well as Raid. I will say now, to the biggest surprise you will see on this list, believe it or not, we have, this is gonna hurt, we got the Assassination Rogue. I know it sounds crazy to say, but Assassination's damage, specifically in a dungeon environment, is excelling like some of the best I've seen so far in the War Within. You pop out of stealth, you garrote and rupture 3 targets at once, so in just a couple global cooldowns, you got everything dotted up, and then it also buffs you drastically. You got your bone spikes going off passively whenever you use a finisher, and then to tie it all together, you use Crimson Tempest, a nice little AoE bleed on enemies. It's really, really fluid. After that, you got your Mutilate on your target to, cause your Caustic Splatter debuff, and then you're just off to the races at that point. And then you're pretty much just sitting back, relaxing, and just seeing everything around you melt with damage over time effects, and it's really fun, man. I will say up front, I'm not in love with any of the rogue hero talent trees, and I think they're some of the worst designed in the game, but the Deathstalker hero talent tree performs exceptionally well with Assassination in dungeons. Specifically, you have multiple abilities in the tree that tie well with Assassination with your damage over time effects like Corrupt the Blood, and then you have Fatal Intent that passively, increases your damage through your key abilities by a ton, which feels nice. Another thing that I specifically love is the Sudden Demise talent capstone at the end of the Assassination tree, where you get a really chunky execute effect off when targets have more bleed damage on them than their current remaining max HP, which feels really good because it doesn't feel like you're wasting damage over time effects on low health targets. I will say, to end this off, that Assassination Rogue does have some of the, highest potential out of all 3 rogue specs right now in the War Within, and I think with some more mastery, some haste, some more stats for their gear, they will pump out a lot more damage over time, which is really, really good for Assassination. Look out for them overall in Mythic Plus dungeons because I promise you they deal some of the highest damage out there. I know they barely bring any utility, don't get me wrong, but I think the damage and simplicity of the class overall does make up for it. All right, now moving on to what has my vote for the best DPS spec in the game. We, of course, got to talk about the Unholy Death Knight. I know this isn't a surprise to a lot of you out there, but if you aren't really aware, let me explain. Unholy Death Knight is that rare class and, phenomenon that not only has 2 incredible hero talent trees, they have a class theme that is easily one of the coolest in the game, while also being overall very straightforward and can deal almost top DPS in both single target and AoE scenarios. Throughout the beta, I was in love with the Sand Lane hero talent tree, where you spread all your festering runes with, Vile Contagion and Defile, and then you get everyone infected with all your diseases, and then you literally spam your Vampiric Strike over and over and over again to pop all those wounds at once to not only deal crazy damage, but to steal enhancements from your enemies to buff you with a lot of haste. The cherry on top after that has to be the Infliction of Sorrow, hero talent passive where your Vampiric Strikes increase the duration of your diseases, and then when your Gift of Sand Lane ends, it does this really awesome pop effect to nuke all of it down into your next Scourge Strike to entirely deal 100% of all your damage over time effects damage instantly, and it just hits in the millions of damage per second. I absolutely love this. This was one of my favorite classes in the beta, and it had my vote for the best DPS in the game in the beta, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Unholy DK still has that vote from me. If you're looking for a class that can quite literally do it all, this has to be the one for you. Not only that, they have the best designed tier sets in the game to increase their damage percentage, which is hilarious because it's literally getting nerfed before anyone gets their hands on them this week. I know everybody's raving about Frost DK right now, but you got your eyes and mind in the wrong place in my opinion. Unholy DK is the way to go, and there ain't nothing you're gonna do to convince me otherwise. Okay, moving on now to our frontline tanks. You all knew this one was coming. The Protection Warrior has my vote for being the best overall tank in the game. Now, why in the world would I say Prot Warrior is the best? Well, not only is their damage some of the highest in the game, being behind Vengeance Demon Hunter, you have some of the most smoothest intake of damage overall in dungeons for AoE as well as raids. They have pretty decent mobility between, Intervene, you have Charge, you have Heroic Leap. They have pretty solid utility as well with Spell Reflect. They have Rally, nice CC with Shockwave as well. Honestly, Prot Warrior doesn't have many holes in its kit, other than the fact that, its self-sustain is probably the lowest in the game, meaning that You rely on a good healer compared to other classes like Blood Death Knight and Guardian Druid, where you can heal yourself through the roof. I just think Mountain Thane solves a lot of their problems where they were lacking with AoE threat generation being kind of poor in previous expansions, which now it feels really, really easy with their improved Thunder Blast replacing Thunderclap. I also think the gameplay style of, trying to stay in avatar state as much as you can to improve your survivability, your crowd control, your damage is a nice fun integration to the spec also. I'm going to be honest, overall Prot Warrior pretty much checks all the boxes for me personally in a tank that I would want to main tank for me, and I think you'd be happy to have one in your group as well. Okay, now I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for probably bringing this one up again, but you easily knew it was coming. One of the best tanks in the game right now has to go to Vengeance Demon Hunter. You got to know that Vengeance Demon Hunter by far has been one of the best tanks in the game from Mythic Plus, and it's looking like it might be that way again. Demon Hunter has by far the most damage out of any tank in the game, while also being very mobile and also being above average is just about, every other area a tank would want to be good at as well. So they have a relatively smooth damage intake in both Mythic Plus and Raid, bring sigils for nice AoE damage and control. They have nice self-sustain, which is actually going to get buffed and improved upon in 11.0.5. You got Darkness, you got their debuff that they bring to increase the magic damage your casters deal. I mean, I'm loving Vengeance right now. If you're a player that's very skilled with a tank, this spec is going to be phenomenal with you. I will say up front that I do think there are better tanks out there if you're looking for a very low skill ceiling and you're not that good in the game. Maybe like Guardian Druid, which is very, very straightforward and simple. But if we're all being honest with each other here, if we're going to take one player that's the best out of every tank spec in the game, I'm going to have my money on the Vengeance Demon Hunter. I'm going to bring them in my party. I've seen a Vengeance Demon Hunter tank like dozens of mobs at a time while not really taking that much damage. They're dealing a lot of damage themselves. I mean, if you're a solid player and you know what you're doing, Vengeance Demon Hunter still remains one of the best, if not the best tank in the game overall, in my opinion. And that's why I think they're going to be fantastic heading into this week of Mythic Zeros. Moving on now to the supports, we have my favorite healer spec in the game, the Resto Shaman. And now I'm not being biased here because good lord, I think everybody else can admit Restoration is killing it in just about every aspect. They got a nice little update in the beta, including a new party-wide buff with Sky Fury, a class tree rework, making things so much more streamlined, making it easier to pick up, like key nodes like Ancestral Guidance, Totemic Recall, Stone Bulwark Totem, which is a brand new defensive they have. And then not only that, the Restoration tree in particular got a lot of, 2-point nodes condensed down to 1-pointers, which gave you a lot more, points to work with within their Resto Shaman talent tree. Not only that, the Totemic Hero talent tree has been excelling exceptionally well and feels very, very nice for a lot of the shamans in the community. I personally love the interactions, improving your healing stream totem, making it stronger, tossing down your surging totem, and then you bring down an enhanced healing rain that's tied to that so you can make it very mobile. So if you want to move your healing stream totem, you just simply Totemic Projection, it moves with the totem, and you're good to go. One of my favorite parts is also tossing out your chain heals that actually connect to your totems and spread to nearby allies, which visually looks very great and feels even better. This hero talent tree makes it to where when you activate a totem, it no longer feels like delayed gratification. It feels like when you activate a totem, you instantly get something out of it, so it doesn't feel like a wasted GCD. Additionally, you have the increased radius to your Spirit Link totems if things get really crazy, and then you have your Sprouting Spirits connected to that to heal everybody after the totem expires. Listen, like I said, I think Resto Shaman covers pretty much all the bases. You have your new raid buff, you have your oh shit button with your Spirit Link and Ascendance for your teammates, you have your chunky totems that feel impactive almost instantly, and then massive chain heals connecting to your totems. I love the Shaman design, I love their visuals, I love the output they're doing inside of dungeons, specifically right now, and I think they're dominating for Mythic Plus heading into the first season. Okay, now lastly, I think there's a reason why the Holy Paladin is one of the most played healers in the game. It's a simple spec with a brand new rework veering them away from Glimmer and Daybreak. You have a very powerful new hero talent tree with Herald of the Sun. You have some of the most powerful and impactful cooldowns in the game with all of their blessings, Lay on Hands, chunky single target instant heals, and overall, man, the class just feels like butter right now, and we haven't seen Holy Pally feel like this in a very long time. With their hero talent tree, after you use Holy Prism or Barrier, your next 2 Holy Spender abilities apply a nice chunky heal over time effect, and then you combine that with the Eternal Flame ability, which is your new improved Word of Glory, that additionally it provides another heal over time effect. So it seems like they're kind of veering Holy Pally into this heal over time effect like class that a lot of players actually enjoy. Something I personally love is that your Holy Shock ability actually feels impactful again if you get a proc on your heal over time effects, which increases the healing by like 200%, which actually makes it feel good to press for the first time in a very long time. Additionally, to tie your major cooldowns, you have, the Sun's Avatar capstone, to where when you pop your wings, you apply Dawn's Light to allies or enemies nearby, and then you have these awesome looking like laser beams coming out to heal allies, damage enemies, which I think is really cool in a raiding environment. You're gonna get those nasty 150% bonus healing Holy Lights with your Sunwell capstone, and things just feel so smooth, man. I will say, I don't think you have a ton of build variety with, Holy Paladin as a healing spec, because the Lightsmith sadly just isn't performing well, but that doesn't mean this class can't get some updates in the future with their second talent tree. And if I had to bet, I think Holy Paladin is going to be the best healer in a raid environment with all their chunky single target heals and healing over time effects. I think we're going to see them shine this week. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, of course, listen, there are honorable mentions out there like Frost Mage, Frost DK. I think these two specs are performing very well right now, as well as Guardian Druid, Blood Death Knight, Preservation Evoker, stuff like that. I think right now, at this very current moment in time, I do have my top 10. These are them heading into this week. We will, of course, be going over the data on Warcraft logs this weekend, and we're going to be checking out how every spec is performing individually and making an updated list before next week. Don't forget, we do stream live on our talk show live here every Wednesday, and we're looking to break our record of 93 live viewers at once this week. We were so close last week to hitting the 100 view mark, so if you guys can, please stop by, check out the talk show. Let's all hang out and enjoy the War Within and talk about it together. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to be making content for you all. Until the very end, my name is Sky from the Comeback Kids. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace. Hey, hope you enjoyed the video. Listen, if you guys enjoyed the content, we have a ton of other videos to help you get through the War Within, like these two right here. And since you're already here, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button to join the Comeback Kids family today, because every subscriber matters. Thank you all so much for enjoying the video. I'll see you in the next one.